Bitch's Grinch set hollow tips in his chest. You know what I'm saying? The real Shawny Binladen story. Now, before I get straight into the video, I just want to let y'all know the giveaway is still this month. So make sure y'all watch all videos to the end. I'm saying I'm gonna be putting the codes in random videos. Um, how I heard about him is because I forgot who he did a song with. But then when I heard him and his name started buzzing and all that, he reminded me of Gunu. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Gunu, from Maryland. Kind of compared them. Some people was like they knew each other or something like that. I don't know how true that is. But I never really heard of his backstory, and I'm pretty sure y'all didn't either. So the only way we can find out is getting straight into this video. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Some folks in the neighborhood whose murder might be drug related.
We didn't have to sell drugs.
So he wasn't into drugs at all.
Not at all. There's a lot of rumors about that. Maybe, growing up, in the streets, whatever. But now, in these years, I wouldn't even down like that.
What happened?
Gang, man. Y'all know that, man. Free the woo, man. They know that is. Suck, man. Whoa.
Hello K gang, Shawny Binladen. Shawny Binladen is one of the most original and quietly influential artists in NYC today, showcasing his captivating, truly one-of-a-kind style. From the first second of his raspy vocals, perfectly offbeat cadence, and unapologetic bars outlining the gritty details of Wu and Montana land, it's clear that you never heard nothing like this before. The magic of Shawny Binladen is in his clever use of samples, frequently flipping popular soulful samples of the past into great drill-inspired hip-hop beats. Oh yeah, let's not forget about his infectious ad-libs. He's widely considered to be the pioneer of the current widespread of trend of sample beats, sweeping through New York and the industry as a whole. It's easy to say he has influenced a few of your favorites in the Brooklyn drill scene and in the mainstream. Along the way, gaining co-signs from the Sixth God himself, Drake, and a long list of other artists, ranging from 22G's, Sparks and Garland, Coil Ray, just to name a few. His quiet and perpetual growth has been a slow and steadily one, but he's destined for greatness. It was ingrained in him by his uncle Stretcher, who was sadly murdered in a drive-by. Despite his adversities, he's continuing his uncle's legacy while cultivating his own. My name is CJ from
the Above the Rim movie, if people watching this and didn't know.
YouTube, and this is the Wu story of Shawny Binladen. Keyshawn Joseph, who's known by his music peers and fans as Shawny Binladen, was born in Queens, New York and raised by two Jamaican parents who moved to the United States in the early 1980s to chase their American dream. He grew up with four siblings, two older brothers and two sisters. He was the middle child, but he always saw himself as the man of the house. For as long as he knows, he has always called Woodhull Projects or the Wu home.
Woodhull Apartments. This where you grew up?
Yes, sir. Well, I grew up the jungle, man. You know where I'm at every day, man. You still here?
Woodhull is a low-income sub-neighborhood of Hollis, one of the realest neighborhoods in Queens. It consists of a few blocks that goes from 198 to 196th Street, just below Jamaica Avenue. The area is named after War General Nathaniel Woodhull. Woodhull was the first ranking colonel held as a prisoner of war in the United States. In 1976, the British slide on Woodhull Block, attacked him with swords and kidnapped him near 196th Street and Jamaica Avenue. Woodhull Avenue is considered a dangerous place, influenced by gangs, drugs, and violence. To steer him in the right direction, his mom always warned him to watch his surroundings and stick to the people that he knows, his family. But one of the most impactful figures in Shawny's life is no longer here. His uncle, Randy Stretch Walker, was a Queens and a rap icon, first making a name for himself in the late 80s with the group The Live Squad. Stretch was one of the few men who called both Biggie and Tupac not just collaborators but close friends, and he was known to be the man first connected.
Yeah, I think he was actually in a video of Music Vibe documentary, little story about Tupac. I think he was in that
too. He and Shawny only got a few years together before Stretch was sadly murdered in 1995. On November 30th, 1995, Stretch was being chased by at least two men in a black car when he was shot at least 4 times, crashing his minivan at the corner of Wynn
Damn.
Village, according to reports. He was struck by bullets and at least 2 fired through his back. It is alleged it was get back for setting up Tupac.
Well, speaking of Stretch, since our last interview,
Oh,
this guy named Dexter Isaac, who's locked up, claims that Stretch was the one that set up Pac, the Quad Studio shooting.
Wow, I didn't hear that. The shooting incident at the Quad Studios with Tupac.
Yeah.
Happened on that a year to the date. Associate of ours was out there. He came back a day or two later. Pac hugged him like he was Kadada. That's all I'll say.
And others have claimed he was murdered for robbing a drug lord in Queens.
Some folks
what
in
do
the
you mean by that?
neighborhood
I
believe his
told him
murder
like
might
he
be
was
drug
the dad.
related.
What's up?
We have to sell drugs.
So he wasn't into drugs at all.
Not at all. There's a lot of rumors about that. And maybe, growing up, in the streets, whatever. But now, in these years, I wasn't even going down like that.
There are several reports for the cause of his death, but we are unable to confirm. Although Tupac was close to him, Pac did not comment or attended his funeral. Among Shawny's earliest memories with his uncle was him bumping tracks and telling him that he will take him to the studio when he's old enough. Those experiences formed the bedrock of his career. From that day on, Shawny Binladen knew the studio was the place he needed to be. Using the influence he gained from his uncle Stretch, Max B, Jay-Z, and the Dipset, he began to
What the hell
rap.
is Max
SB started
B
rapping
coming
in
on?
2007 around the age of 14. The same year, SoundCloud was launched. He began recording and releasing songs. This was the era when SoundCloud had the recording function. Even though he didn't know what he was doing with the music, his mom was always supportive, pushing him forward, and she was always in his corner. For as long as he can remember, all he wanted to do was rap. In 2016, he formed YTB, the Yellow Tape Boys, along with his friend 450, which he had known since elementary school. Majority of his friends are either dead or locked up. As he raps, Free the Gang or Free 22, Shawny Binladen was caught in the system as well, but he never mentioned for what.
Right, but I got locked up at one point. My boy Yaya started rapping.
According to an unconfirmed story by the Nassau report, Keishon Joseph was arrested and charged with the felonies of second-degree criminal possession of a weapon, third-degree criminal possession of a weapon, and criminal possession of a firearm, after he allegedly shot at a pipe in a building, according to Nassau County News Report, which is a local news outlet. When Shawny Binladen got locked up, it was his friend, Big Yaya, who was putting on for the crew. Although Big Yaya was rapping, he had his side gigs. According to news reports, in October 2019,
he was
police
on
linked Big
the
Yaya
radio,
with another female New York resident with a scheme to use fraudulently obtained credit cards or bank information to purchase prepaid gift cards, according to reports. And later he was released on a $2,000 unsecured bond. Big Yaya really lived by his name. Earlier this year, Yaya was arrested in February after he was found passing out fraudulent prescription at local pharmacies in Fairfield. He was charged with narcotics and forgery charges and was released after posting a $5,000 bond. After coming home, Shawny Binladen has been on the rise, with over 71,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Binladen stayed quite busy over the years, releasing a total of 6 albums since his debut tape, 03 Wood City, in 2018. Developing his talent, Shawny Binladen has strived to be true to himself and remain consistent since first stepping foot into the studio years ago. And he continues to grow year on year in the underground scene and is building a cult-like following, one that knows the lyrics to his songs word for word. He's one of those artists that you have to discover on your own to appreciate. 5 years from now, when he becomes a household name, everyone will be wondering where did he come from. I hope watching this video you learn about his story and the legacy that is continuing to build.
Definitely. Shout out to Shawny Binladen. Shout out to CJ. You know what I'm saying? I definitely fuck with Shawny Binladen. So again, in the comments, let me know what's your favorite Shawny Binladen song. And with that being said, love is love. I appreciate all support, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video.